Are you one of the many who find themselves very excited to boot up 7 Days to Die, only to find themselves in a situation similar to the one on screen? Well, you're not alone. Hey guys, this is your boy Rumsey here, bringing you some good to step up your in-game efficiency and save your precious time and resources. Today I'd like to go over some tips regarding one of my favorite survival games, 7 Days to Die. If you like sandbox games, or you're into post-apocalyptic worlds, this game is definitely for you. However, it has a very steep learning curve and can quickly turn a lot of players off from the start. 7 Days to Die is probably one of the best sandbox experiences out on the market right now. However, a lot of the core mechanics regarding the game aren't very well spelled out, and a lot of players find themselves in a corner very quickly. Unlike other sandbox games, finding yourself in a corner within 7 Days to Die is not such a bad thing. This is because there's a multitude of ways to escape that corner within 7 Days to Die. 7 Days to Die is kind of built around putting the player within a corner, and then giving them a multitude of options to escape the corner as they see fit. In my opinion, this is one of the best aspects of any good sandbox game, and 7 Days to Die really hits the nail on the head. And that's why I'm here bringing you this video today. I'd like to show you guys how you can navigate the first few days of 7 Days to Die and get a foothold within the game world, without being discouraged or turning the game off before you get to the good parts. I've been playing 7 Days to Die since shortly after its first initial release on Steam, back in 2013. The game has changed a lot since its initial release date. Since the game changed so much since its initial release, some of the methods and tactics that may have been relevant during earlier alphas may not be relevant during the current state of the game, which is 19.4. Before we get into it, if you find yourself enjoying this video, show some love by liking and commenting below. I'd really appreciate it, and it helps me continue making more videos like this. If you're in the survival games, crafting games, sandbox games, or RPGs, hit that subscribe button so I can continue bringing you the best good to step up your in-game efficiency and save them precious time and resources. And if you feel so inclined, check out my Patreon page where viewers like you can support my videos directly. I have a Patreon-only Discord channel and a bunch of other cool tier benefits. I'm also going to be dropping some multiplayer game servers in the near future. As well as that, I'm going to start streaming very soon, and all of my patrons are going to get early access to my streams, as well as VIP status within the streams themselves. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. If it wasn't for all of you, I'd be unable to continue making these types of videos, so I'm very stoked to have such a great audience. With all that good stuff aside, let's get into the game itself. The first thing you're going to see when you drop into the world is an inventory full of assorted goods. Don't worry about these too much. Find the nearest tree and start punching it to collect wood. After you've collected a handful of wood, find some plant fiber on the ground. You can see my character in-game punching plant fiber. As you can see in the top right hand corner, there's a quest log, and this is what we're going to be focused on for the first few minutes of the play. Our first quest is to gather some plant fiber and craft a bedroll. Throw down your bedroll and continue on to the next quest. The next quest is going to have you create an axe, which is a rudimentary tool that's going to do a lot for you throughout your 7 Days to Die playthrough. Our next quest is going to have us create some plant fiber pants and a plant fiber shirt. Collect more plant fiber off the ground if needed. Use that wood you collected to make a wooden club. Afterwards, start scouring the area for something that looks like stone. This is a lead node, but it still gives you stone. The next thing we're going to need is feathers. If you find a chicken or a bird around, definitely don't pass up the opportunity to kill it. Alternatively, you can find birds' nests scattered throughout the entire game world. Simply press E to interact with them. They drop both feathers and bird eggs, which are very good in the early game. Go ahead and craft your primitive bow as well as many arrows as you can craft. Our next quest is going to be a short introduction into the building system in 7 Days to Die. Grab yourself a bunch of wood and craft maybe 5 to 10 wooden frame blocks. Scroll over them on your hotbar, and then you can right-click them with your stone axe to upgrade them into an actual wooden block. Afterwards, if you don't like where they're placed, you can simply attack them with your axe to destroy them and get some of the wood back. Up until this point, you've been fairly safe. Before you hit level 1 or had much experience, no zombies are going to start spawning, so you're free to explore the first house that you spawn by at your own leisure. Take this time to get familiar with 7 Days to Die. Explore the house, loot everything you can by interacting with it with the E key, and start destroying different things you find around the house. A lot of different things will give you different resources that are very valuable at different parts of the game. The first house is kind of like a tutorial. It'll equip you with some better armor and clothing, maybe some weapons, and a lot of experience. So definitely take your time and explore this place to the fullest. You still have some time before zombies start spawning, so definitely get crazy and interact with everything possible. I'd also use this time to make a bunch of wooden frames. These are probably your number one weapon in 7 Days to Die. As you'll soon notice, there's a recurring theme with the loot in 7 Days to Die. All of the good loot is either found in the basement or at the very top of the house. You can use wood frames to create a rudimentary ladder of sorts by jumping and placing a block below your feet after you jump. This is called a noob tower. But don't get that twisted because even the pros and vets use this in their own playthroughs. Having played 7 Days to Die since 2013, having thousands of hours in Nightmare playthroughs alone, I can definitely attest to the fact that everybody uses this method. 7 Days to Die is a sandbox game after all. There are no set rules. Don't listen to the forum trolls. After you've totally cleared the house out, take this time to explore around the house. As you can see, we still have one more quest to do, and this is to locate the trader. The trader is probably the most important thing in the game. But take your time exploring around before you make it to the trader. You don't have to rush through this like you rushed through the first tutorial quests. Following the yellow exclamation mark will lead you exactly to the trader's location. It's worth noting that the trader's settlement is free of zombies. Completely free of zombies, but it does have lots of loot. So walk around and interact with everything, and try to get as much loot as possible so that we can sell some stuff to the trader. Prioritize things that have a better sell value. Although the trader's settlement is free of zombies, that doesn't mean the zombies can't follow you in, so be sure to shut the door after you enter. After you're satisfied with the amount of stuff you've collected, or you're full on inventory space, go ahead and speak to the trader. This will complete the last quest, as well as give you an opportunity to free up some inventory space and gain some precious dukes. These dukes, or coins, are the currency within 7 Days to Die, and I can't understate their value. Throughout your game, you'll accumulate tons of items that are either unusable at the current game state you're in, or they just don't play a part in the build that you're going for throughout your playthrough. It's important to stockpile these items regardless if you plan to use them or not, just so that you can sell them for dukes, and exchange them for items that would better suit your playthrough or your needs in game. Going over which items to keep or which items to sell would probably warrant its own video in and of itself. But as a general rule of thumb, I recommend keeping all food goods, whether it's raw meat or canned items, and all weapons and or ammo as well, dependent on your build and your playstyle preferences. While you're on your inventory screen, click on the little character icon next to the hammer. This has a lot of valuable information, such as hunger, food, water, your character's level, and experience to level. These are invaluable little things to keep an eye on. After you've finished your playthrough of Inventory Simulator, it's time to get on to the next quest. From here on out, the trader will be the main source of quests with the exception of notes that you find along your way through looting. She'll give you an option of quests with varying distances from your current location, followed by the tier or the difficulty of said quest. I recommend always picking up fetch quests, and I'll show you why in a moment. Moving on to the build part of the guide. 7 Days to Die has a very complex build system. Through the use of attributes and perks, you can kind of mold your character into the perfect survivor for your type of playthrough, whether that be a sharpshooter who only uses ranged weapons, or a melee character, or maybe even just a miner or a gatherer. It's all up to you. I, however, always opt for the pack mule attributes at the start of the game. This will unlock those very useful inventory slots that you see grayed out when you open your inventory screen. Moving towards the quest location, go ahead and loot any big POIs or buildings that you see along your way. Keep an eye on the time of day in the top portion of your screen. As you can see, it says day 1, time 19:20 right now. Always keep an eye on the time of day. You don't want to find yourself out and about with a full inventory full of precious goods only to get swamped by a bunch of ferals or running zombies. Holding up in a POI like the one I'm in until morning or 4 a.m. is a very good idea, especially in the early game when you're limited for ammo. Simply climbing to the tallest part of a POI will pretty much put you out of harm's way until 4 a.m. Once you made it to morning or 4 a.m., you're safe to continue along your journey, as all the zombies will have reverted back to the walking speed. I, however, like to use this time a little more wisely. I'll typically seek out a medium-sized stone POI that I can clear out during the first night and build a rudimentary base on top of. As ammunition can be a very scarce commodity at this point of the game, I find the employment of rudimentary fire traps to be a very effective method to clear these POIs. Building walls around the fireplace will create somewhat of a funnel that pulls the zombies into, and then surely leads them to their demise. It's a very effective way to take out a POI's worth of zombies without using much ammo at all. I probably don't need to say this, but just in case, it's really important to pick up every bird's nest that you find along the way. Arrows in the early game are like gold, and you won't want to find yourself on the 7th night without a horde of ammos to take on the zombies. We're almost done clearing this entire POI of all the zombies with just using a few arrows. You can go ahead and loot the entirety of the POI after you're happy with the amount of zombies you've killed, or if you're confident to take them on with a melee weapon. Most bigger POIs will have a sort of loot room within them somewhere. They might be hidden, but you'll know you found them when you find a bunch of these sealed shipping crates and either a chest or maybe a locked safe. These are where the good items will come from. It's important not to pass up on these types of loot rooms. Maybe skipping a sink or a vending machine throughout your play is no big deal, but these types of loot rooms are probably the most important part of looting a POI. As you can tell, these sealed shipping crates are a little different than most lootables. You actually have to destroy the outside box in order to loot them. In order to build my base and have it secure, I have to place down a land claim block. You'll spawn in with one of these land claim blocks, but they only take stone to make if you lost yours along the way. Dependent on the server settings, these land claim blocks will create a sort of dead zone, where loot and zombies cease to spawn. They also stop players from destroying your doors or walls on a multiplayer server, so they're very important for both single player and multiplayer servers alike. You're also able to toggle a sort of distance display with your land claim block, allowing you to have a visual representation of the space protected within your land claim, or your LCB. And just like in the tutorial, we're going to place and upgrade wooden block frames to create a structure. I also recommend creating a storage container within your crafting menu. This will allow you to store all of those precious goods safely, so you don't have to walk around with them. And yeah guys, with that I think you're about all set up to take on the horrific yet awesome world of 7 Days to Die. Make sure to lock that door and set a password, as well as secure any holes in your base. I'll be making a part 2 to follow up with some more advanced survival tips, but I felt not enough people had a comfortable understanding on how to navigate the first day and set themselves up with a successful playthrough. So if you learned anything, or you enjoyed this guide or playthrough, show this video some love and drop a comment and a like, and I really look forward to hearing from you guys. And yeah, keep an eye out for my part 2. I'm going to be showing some really cool tricks that I know not too many people know about. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.